didn't really they weren't really still into it, because at that point in time with horror, it's still very much like crisp and clear, which is what we wanted to see. I mean, look at the horror films from the early 2000s. We got the 90s where they were very nitty and gritty. Then you had the 2000s, which everything had to be sharp and polished.
There's a lot of remakes.
There was a lot of remakes.
70s and 80s were remade everything.
Oh gosh, the worst one I thought was When a Stranger Calls. I was like, that doesn't even. Why? That's not even. That can't even be a thing. That's even at the time. It was like, come on. In the 70s, it makes sense because Star 69 didn't exist yet. But then when the 80s hit, you're like, this movie wouldn't even make sense anymore. And then of course,
then you make it in the 2000s,
and it's like, why?
Where's my cell phone? I lost my cell phone.
Doesn't make any sense. Oh, he has another chip. Oh, go.
I think Insidious really helped the low budget because that was
absolutely
2010. That was made for $1.25 million.
That was a beautifully made,
and it had Rose Byrne and Patrick Wilson in it. It had good cast, and then you had Ethan Hawke in Sinister. You had him in The Purge. You had A-list actors in $1 million movies,
and kind of good for the rest of us, but not so great for them.
Who?
And Rose Byrne and Ethan Hawke, and they can show their acting skills, so they could actually be in lesser films that would not normally be starring them.
Rose Byrne has been acting straight for years. I think.
No. I mean, her career kind of wasn't doing as good as it could have been. So, I mean, so then she had to take on movies, the lesser films, so she could take a basic SAG rate, as opposed to getting a couple mil for a movie. So I mean that it was kind of good for us because then we can see these great actors. But
and also these movies were only shot in 20 days, so they're kind of in and out, make a little bit of a paycheck, it's a back end. Make a ton of money.
Insidious?
Yeah, it was shot in 20 days.
Really?
Yeah,
wow.
$1.25 million. You can't.
Oh yeah, you can't really.
Yeah.
They probably did a lot of moving.
But I guess with this movie, I just 92% Rotten Tomatoes. This movie. And actually, I've spoke about this before, but I felt like the movies that came out from 2014, 2015, 2016 felt like the movies from the 70s, like Rosemary's Baby. These really Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Omen. These very smart art house movies. It was like horror being made by Ridley Scott, Roman Polanski. It wasn't just horror made by Hammer or by Roger Corman or just kind of hokey Universal movies. I felt like A-list directors were tackling horror at the time, and then it became about slashers and everything. But now you have pretty big name directors doing horror. Well,
they want to take their no pun intended. They want to take a stab at it because it's becoming a new genre, almost it's not seen as like ridiculous as it used to be. Where it doesn't have to be Eli Roth. It can actually be a very smart, well put together film. It makes you think almost. I mean, kind of like The Babadook. It does make you think. What does grieving look like? And yeah, to some people, that's what it looks like. Yeah, it's a very smart film. Ty West as well is the same way.
And plus, you can just shoot in a house. House of the Devil, Babadook, You're Next, Insidious.
Very cheap, very fastly made movies.
Shoot in a house.
Shoot in a house, and then that's it.
Yeah. Anything else you want to cover on this movie?
Well,
what do you got?
I mean, the soundtrack, I love that. The soundtrack is dominated by the band, or I don't know if you call them a band, but group Survive, who does the music for Stranger Things.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
They dominate the soundtrack on that. I mean, they didn't do the score, but they use a lot of their music. So, I mean, if you like that type of music, this definitely will be up your alley. Also, Clan of the Zymox, as we also covered, and the Gatekeeper, who they all do kind of like a weird. I don't know if you call a goth techno kind of put it, like gothic dance music. There used to be a goth dance club around the corner from me called The Shelter. I used to go to.
And you would lead all the line dances there, wouldn't you?
I went in there and I asked them to play Elvis one day.
Who's that?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, they banned me for life. But.
Wise men say only fools ask to play Elvis in a goth nightclub.
But every Saturday night it was a $20 cover and all you could drink. So I mean,
yeah,
who's laughing now?
Did you ever say a little less conversation, a little more Elvis? A little less industrial music and a little more Elvis. I want to say this movie, I think, has my favorite ending line that I can think of. I like Swiss Army Man's final line, but I feel like they kind of ripped off this one. The final line in this movie is, we're going to get our PG-13, is, what the fuck? So this movie, and also I love that David comes in, he goes down to hunt Maika Monroe, and Dr. Loomis, he goes to hunt the brother at the school, and that's why you have the fun house, because he's in detention because he beat up a kid up. Oh yeah,
that's a great scene when they're in the principal's office, and he's like, what did he call it? Because they're like,
hate crime.
They're both going to be expelled. And he's like, what did he call the boy again? He's like, wait, I don't know. And then he says the word and he's like, so then this would be a hate crime.
Yep.
Imagine what happens when it's broadcasted all over the news and the principal's like, wait. Okay, so
30 days detention.
30 days detention. He's like, deal. Just walks out and then shakes the kid's hand and then keeps on going.
And it works out organically that he's in a funhouse at the end because his job for detention was to clean up in that place and help build it. So it puts him in there. And then
of course, because like where else would they have taken it? Because if this didn't take place, like if it took place during like the Christmas dance, like what kind of a fight scene would that be? That
Ooh, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, I was just now thinking about that, like Frozen, but with the guest. Like, let it go.
There's silence for 30 seconds where we're just thinking about the movie. Oh man, that'd be great. But so I do like that Maika and her brother end up killing David, or in quotation marks, killing. But I do like what David says. He's like, I'm proud of you. You did the right thing. I don't blame you. And he does the Terminator move with the thumbs up.
Yeah.
And then he does the thumbs up. He's like, don't feel bad. So he was going to kill them, but since they killed him, he doesn't have to kill them because that, his programming is keeping them to killing them. And so he's kind of...
So now he can move on to the next killing.
He's almost happy that they kill him because he doesn't have to kill them. But I love it. He's like, I'm proud of you. Like, you did the right thing. I don't blame you. Like, and then the thumbs up. He has a blood coming down him. Don't feel bad.
Yeah.
Thumbs up. That's awesome. And then I love the cops are like, we found 2 bodies with no teeth and no fingers.
Yeah,
like, right. He's still alive.
Yeah, right. That's the first thing everybody says. But that's just it's fantastic. It's like that scene in what was it, My Bloody Valentine? Whoop.
But I love it. He walks out at the end and he stares at Maika Monroe and her brother, and she just I love the way she said, "What the fuck?" She just nailed the. I can only say like 5 what the F's, but the way she says it just works perfectly.
Yeah,
like,
it seems like natural. Like everyone's thinking that, so she's going to be the one who says it.
Yeah.
It's not just like, huh?
It's not even stylish the way she says it. Like, I think all of us would say that.
Oh yeah, it's like we were thinking it in our minds, but she says it exactly like how we were thinking it.
Yeah,
it's dynamite.
Nails that scene. I remember when I saw that movie, and then it just goes, "The guest," and you're like, "Whoa!" I was watching that when I first saw that, and I heard her say that line. Then the guest, I was like, "I love this movie." I just went and I bought it immediately. I bought that and the soundtrack, right? Like I rented it, and then I went and bought the movie, and I bought the soundtrack just right then and there.
It was like your Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah. Oh, that's what you did?
Saturday Night Fever?
Yeah.
Of course, everyone did.
Wait, bought the soundtrack?
Yeah.
So get this. I teach intro to film production, so basic camera work for students. And I taught them how to do not establishing shots, but like establishing shots and then like how to follow a character throughout a city. So I had them film their version of the Saturday Night Fever when John Travolta's walking through the town because
40 broken cameras later.
But he takes the train into town and then he's walking like through the street. So you see his entire journey to go to where he goes. So like, and then they have a really great establishing shot. So I have my students not dance, but learn how to do that by watching that clip from Saturday.
I mean, that's a great clip. I mean, the whole movie is fantastic. I mean, of course, no one likes disco anymore. At least no one I know. But that movie in general is amazing, especially if you want to know what it's like to have been at that time. That's a great movie to show people for representation of the 70s disco scene in New York. Very much like how other films will give a very solid representation of that era. If you want, like, Valley Girl, for instance, will show like how the early 80s, the Hollywood versus the Valley scene was. And movies like that, I love that because it's like a time capsule. You'll never be able to see you'll never be able to see those scenes ever again. And they really signify it. Just like Clerks, like we mentioned, Clerks shows what it was like to be, early 20s, maybe going to college in the 90s. And it's not stylized. It's very much, this is what it was like. I mean, you were working at a gas station.
You weren't even supposed to be there.
Not even supposed to be there.
I would show Staying Alive, the sequel.
Oh,
or for the 90s, I'd show Biodome as a representation of the 90s. I think that really captures the zeitgeist of that.
I'd show them chairman of the board so they know what it was like to. I love that.
I saw him once in an airport, and that dude's jacked.
He's huge. I saw him. What movie was it?
I didn't say anything. I didn't look. I was like, my brother and I were.
He's a big guy. He's like 6'2", 6'3". He's a big man.
Yeah,
and he's also very, very muscular. And it's like, how the...
That threw me off seeing it, because I was like, geez Louise.
Used to seeing this like scrawny beanpole guy, and it's like, holy crap.
He was doing push-ups. He was just walking on his hands.
He was eating a turkey sandwich.
This protein. But no, I'm really happy you joined me for this. I love this movie, and I think we pretty much tackled everything we had to tackle about it. What do you think?
Yeah, it was nice.
So before we end, you have some movie recommendations for us, don't you?
I do. There's just a couple of films that I've seen that are streaming on Netflix that kind of go along with the guest. They're a little fun and very straight to the point. One of them was Beyond the Gates, which if you haven't seen that, that's a great movie about a man who mysteriously dies. He has a video rental house. He wills it to his sons. His sons then investigate a little bit, and they discover a box that was like a VHS board game. If you remember playing those back in the day. This one's called Beyond the Gates. They start to play it, and they start to discover more about their father's death, about how he got wrapped up in this game. And it seems like it would be serious, but it's actually not. It's very slapstick, kind of goofy, but also really kind of fun to watch.
Beyond the Gates.
Beyond the Gates. It is streaming on Netflix. Strongly recommend watching that.
Awesome.
Another one is called They're Watching. If you haven't seen that. That's a great movie as well. It's about like there's a haunted house, I guess you would say, that's in Eastern Europe that someone, I think they're from America, they buy and they're like, oh my gosh, honey, we can live in Eastern Europe now. This is so great. So then they redesign everything. So then a House Hunters place comes out, like one of those Trading Spaces places that come in there to like do a documentary on it. And they start like seeing that the people in the town are really kind of off, not like weird, but they kind of chalk it up to like, oh, well, it's just local customs. That's just how they are. But these people are just really, really weird. So they start thinking about like, whoa, why are we here? Like, what's going on here? Is this even an actual thing? Because it doesn't look like you're really renovating this house, and I don't know what's happening. And whether or not they're a cult or witches or what's going on, it all kind of leads up to this really, really, really great ending. So I strongly recommend it. That's a really slapstick film as well.
So in the movie, I'm not saying Eastern Europe's perfectly fine in the real world, but I feel like in the horror world, to buy a former fun house in Eastern Europe. Oh,
it's not like a haunted house. I mean, like it's kind of like your house, but it's like it's haunted, quotes, haunted.
Oh, so they buy a haunted house in Eastern Europe?
Oh, that's what they think. I mean, that's what they say it is. And they're like, we're going to redecorate. It's really cool. It's a very
well, it just spells doom, movie. It seems like.
Well, the things don't work out for anyone
in
the
movie. Fictional world. It's just like, you're dead.
It's a really fun movie.
Awesome.
Another one which is streaming on Showtime right now is called Urban Myths. This is more true. They call it true-ish retellings of classic events, kind of like how Gus Van Sant based his career on, where he wanted to do true stories of stuff that you could never really know the facts of, which is the reason.
Like Elephant.
Exactly. He wanted to do
Last Days.
That was based on obviously Columbine, and he wanted to do a movie called Columbine, but the producer said, "There's no way we're going to make that movie, but you can do Elephant." And same thing with Last Days. They're like, "We're not going to do a Kurt Cobain movie, but we will do Last Days," which is all very heavily influenced about Kurt Cobain's Last Days.
For sure.
So Urban Myths is kind of based on that same line. It's a lot of stories that they can't really tell what actually happened, but they're going to retell the story anyways. One of them that I watched that I really liked was the Sex Pistols on Bill Grundy, who, if you know who Bill Grundy was, he was like the name in talk shows back in London back in the day, back in the 70s. And the Sex Pistols were on his show. And they were, Sex Pistols I don't think they released their first record yet. So they were on there and they just totally destroyed the show. And it actually got Bill Grundy fired.
Oh, wow. Cool. Urban Myths on Showtime?
Yeah, it's a great show. I'm strongly recommending it. There's a lot of good ones on there. They're not very long, so they only do a very small segment. So if they did a show about like, Mark going to set, but something happened along the way, it would just be about that. It wouldn't be like the whole story of it. It would just be
a fist fight with a tiger.
Yeah, it's a great show. I very strongly recommend watching it.
Awesome. Urban Myths and one more?
Nope, that's it.
That's it?
That's it.
Oh, man. So if you have three right here, which one should they tackle first?
I would say, to go along with the guest, I would say check out Beyond the Gates.
Beyond the Gates. Do that. And one good thing we learned is to never buy a haunted house in Eastern Europe. What do you think?
I'm not going to do it anytime soon.
I mean,
I have to check out my Zillow.
Yeah. In this world, I'd consider it. But if I knew I was in a movie and this was a meta movie, I'm out.
I don't know. Maybe. Probably not. It depends on who is going to come and visit me. I don't know. There's some great scenes in that movie, especially like with the local people, and they're just like, "Hey, what are you doing here?"